again.
That's hilarious. Nobody does more coke than Tony at the end of the movie, though.
Oh my God,
that was painful.
bulletproof.
That was pain. I was like, stop snorting. I don't want to watch it anymore.
That dude just like face in like.
It's like
into
you're
the
so
coke
high,
table.
you're gonna die either way because you've just sniffed.
Imagine
so many
having
cigarettes.
Welcome back to the big room. We watched Scarface, starring Alfredo James Pacino. Alfredo.
Alfredo?
Like
Like
it's
the sauce.
Alfredo. That's
Like
what
the
it's.
sauce.
That's what
Wow.
Al's short
Going
for.
by
the
Al was the
sauce.
right move.
Alfredo Pacino.
Well, yeah, we watched a movie. Whatever.
Grazie.
Carl has something important though. Some
Spaghetti.
news
I
corner.
got hit by a car.
What?
Well, it's funny, yeah, because I literally asked you in the group Discord chat. I was like, "Any dreams?" Because I'm real into dreams again. And you were like, "Yeah, I had one that my boss hit me with a truck." And I was like,
Yep.
"That's crazy." Not even like 5 hours later, I get hit by a car. Hits a little.
You're not in the
extreme.
hospital.
I got nudged by a car. I was at Kroger getting cat food and soup, like you do.
As you
And I
do.
was
your
backing
crime.
out. Yeah, that was my only crime. I should have gone to Publix for shopping as a pleasure. But yeah, I'm leaving. Successful grocery run. Backing up, I'm looking, checking on my corners, checking my blind zones. Don't want a Biff situation like in Back to the Future where there's a blind spot.
Yeah.
I'm going very slow. I've got the backup camera. And then I see another car backing up and I'm like, no, hey, wait. I'm like honking as quick as I can. And it's just like, boop. It was like the most subtle nudge. And I was like, what do you do in these situations? Do you drive off? Do you just try to get out of here as quick as you can? And I was like, and then we just sat there for like a minute and a half, just like dumbfounded. I was like, what even just happened? Like it was so slow.
Wait, it hit your car or it hit your body?
They hit me. No, they hit my car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like
No,
your
no,
body.
should've-
I
Yeah, I
got
should've
hit by a
clarified.
car means you
Yeah.
got ragdolled by a minivan.
Oh yeah. Well,
You
yeah.
were in a minor motor vehicle.
I'm
collision.
sensationalizing a little bit,
Your car got
But
hit
yeah,
by a
like we
car.
sat there for like 4 minutes, and I'm just like, we just both went back into our respective spots, and I was like, do we just reset and try again? I'm like, "Fucking serious." So then he gets out, I get out, and I'm like, and he's like, that was my fault, I was in neutral, and I was like, what? Why? And
Why
I looked
is
at the
neutral
car,
a gear even?
I guess, yeah. And I was like, how? Like you what? I was like, okay. And he's like, I'm looking at it. And I'm like, well, there's no damage. It's like it was such a subtle nudge that like nothing even happened. And I was like, all right. And he's like, well, I got insurance. And I was like, no, let's just go. Let's just get out of here.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to know this even happened. Like, get me out of here. And I was just like, all right. But yeah.
What a grocery run.
But an interesting. Yeah, I'm going to Publix from now on.
Yeah,
I learned my
Kroger.
lesson.
Thanks, Kroger. Put our cars at risk. You snake
Yeah.
business. So yeah, we watched. Why is my IMDb's on Michelle Pfeiffer?
She was
because
in this movie.
Nice.
She's in the movie, but I fat fingered her. So we watched Scarface. It's 3 hours, which is enough time.
It was some time.
It's long.
Arguably more than enough time.
It's more than enough
I
time.
would
Nah.
agree.
I thought it was.
I think there's a little fat that could have been trimmed there,
Yeah.
but at the same time, maybe not. So I don't know. 1983. 12 years before we were born. Yeah, that's math.
Math.
Yeah, that's math. 40 years old, this movie, this year.
Oh, God.
Wow.
What a good year to
Wow.
watch it. It's
A
40th anniversary.
sequel, remake, retelling.
I think it's a retelling.
Reimagining.
Yeah, I
Reimagining.
don't think it's a direct remake. It's very different.
There was
but
a Scarface in the 30s, in the 1930s. I would wager it had less chainsaws in it.
probably.
And way less color.
Can't
Yeah, and way less color. Probably
And-
two
Was
colors.
it black and white?
Yeah, black and white. You get both.
Okay.
But that's it.
No,
Both
it's
of 'em.
just black.
Yeah, you can have whatever color you want as long as it's black and white. So Miami mob movie. Our first mob movie. I've been wanting a mob movie the whole time.
Since the beginning, every
Took me
week.
almost 6 months to get one.
Yep.
We're almost halfway done with the list, and I just now
That's weird.
get Scarface.
We're
Well, not
halfway
really.
done. We only-
halfway done
We
is
only have
end of
two in there.
huh?
We only
Well,
have two mob movies in there, right?
4
Godfather.
technically. Scarface,
The other-
Godfather 1 and 2, and Goodfellas, I believe, is also in the list.
Okay.
So I think chronologically, we're set to go backwards right now. I think Scarface is set in the latest period. It's set in 1980. 1980s cocaine-fueled Miami. So stars Al Pacino, which so does The Godfather. Which I want to say, I've seen some of The Godfather, right? It's on the list. It's of the 4 mob movies we're watching. This is the only one I had seen nothing but the Say Hello to My Little Friend scene from. I've seen probably the first half of Goodfellas, and I've seen probably 80% of Godfather Part 1 and half of Part 2. Pacino is Michael Corleone in The Godfather, and without spoiling anything, he is like a completely different, like it's not the same at all. It's insane how different these characters are, to me at least. So I'm kind of excited to watch The Godfather and have you all see Al Pacino play also a gangster, but like completely differently.
Yeah.
His composure is different. Obviously, he's Italian, playing an Italian in The Godfather, and he's playing a
Cuban.
Cuban. In this movie, so.
And he is Italian, so that probably came more naturally.
He's New York. He's from New York.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But yeah, he's Italian.
But he's
though.
Italian.
But he's not Italian.
He's Italian, but he's from New York, right?
Gotcha.
So he's. I mean, you don't get the name Alfredo Pacino.
Alfredo is that his God-given name, or is that like
That's what
a
the
movie star
internet
name?
said, so it must be true.
Alfredo is? Yeah, that's
I don't
All right.
think that if you like had to
It's a
pick
choice.
a name for Hollywood, right? You're not going to be like, I'll be
Alfredo.
Angel
Alfredo.
Hair Pasta Craig. Like it's not.
Pasta Greg.
It's not a thing. So.
me
Let's
Panay.
do expectations
Yeah.
because this movie at least has one scene in the collective zeitgeist of America.
Yeah.
The Say Hello to My Little Friend line is oft repeated and referenced, and it's why this movie's on the list. So, I mean, I guess I can start. I had no idea. I thought the movie... So, I had misconstrued that scene. I hadn't seen it, like, on YouTube or whatever in a million years. I thought he had a Tommy gun, and I thought this took place in, like, the 50s.
What? Really?
Yeah, because I just didn't remember. I mean,
crazy.
I hadn't seen the scene. Like, I've heard people say it and, like, mimic the accent and
Yeah.
whatever, as you do.
Yeah.
But I hadn't seen the clip in since I was 15 and just on YouTube, like,
Yeah.
early, like, a million years ago. So, no, I thought, like, Tommy Gun in 50s. That's what I think. When I think mob movies, I think
That's true.
post-war, that New Money, Italian.
yeah.
I
I
kinda
feel like that's
wasn't
more the
prepared.
mob era. This feels more gangster era.
Yeah,
if that can be a
that's true.
distinction. I don't know if those are synonymous terms or not.
Yeah, but like East Coast, like early East Coast gangster, I
Mhm.
guess. Like West Coast gangster is a whole different deal. But so yeah, I had the wrong period in my brain.
Interesting.
So the 80s was interesting. I didn't expect it to be. I just didn't know because I thought he was Italian because it's Al Pacino. I didn't expect Cuban immigrants in the whole refugee camp in the beginning and stuff. The big anti-communism propaganda energy being the 80s. Jimmy Carter was president, right?
I think so.
I think they mentioned. So, that dude's... Is that dude still alive? Or did he just die?
Did he die recently?
He's still kicking.
Jimmy
Is
Carter's
he?
still kicking?
He just
Is he?
Jimmy Carter.
I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he was
He just
in
went
the
in the
news.
hospice or something.
Yeah. Good God.
But
Jimmy Carter.
he's still there.
Shout out to Jimmy Carter for not being
Or
dead.
he's out building
building houses for
homes
Habitat
for humanity or whatever. Yeah.
He's enjoying ice cream in hospice.
Dude, what a gangster.
As of
No, not Joe Biden. Jimmy Carter.
No, yeah, confirm. Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter is enjoying ice cream in hospice.
As of 1 day ago.
Is he
He's just like
probably-
live tweeting this, or
he's probably more-
I had some raisin praline ice cream
Yeah.
today.
Raisin praline.
He's probably more mentally sound than Joe Biden. Probably.
Oh
That's
God.
not a great. That's
Well, Biden's like,
nobody wants.
oh boy.
We're doing a great job.
But at least he's not a fascist. So anyway, somebody else, anybody else? Did anybody else have any expectations?
I only knew that same clip as well, though. Say hello to my little friend. I expected Tony to be completely different. At least in the beginning. I thought it was going to start kind of with the Tony we got towards the end of the movie.
Gotcha. Established mob,
The,
mobster.
Yeah, already established. But he was, I don't know, he felt younger than I expected him to be as well. Like he just was really cocky and naive and kind of over his head a little bit.
Bullish.
Yeah. He had a really big ego. I wrote down.
Sure.
I don't know. It was cool though because we kind of got that complete journey with him, from the bottom.
Hero's journey.
Yeah.
Anti-hero's journey.
Yeah.
It was like
for better or worse, from the bottom to the top.
It was Hero's Journey Plus because we went back down to the bottom at the end. Yeah. So, Carl, what did you think going in?
Well, I'd seen it like in college, but that's been like 30 years. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think I remembered there being more violence than there was. Like this is definitely more of a. It seems like a more of a slow burn character story, where you do get like this kind of guy who starts from nothing and kind of works his way to the top through his ego and hubris. He also has like this little man syndrome kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where it seems like he's got, a chip on his shoulder and, the little scar on his face where he's just kind of like, not going to take no as an answer, and he's going to do what he can to kind of get what he thinks he needs, which, and through the movie you find out like what he thinks he needs is actually not what he wants at all, or it's like not what he thinks it's going to be. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember what you asked, but yeah, that was pretty. I thought it was, really great. But yeah, aged really well.
What'd you think? Have you ever seen any mob movie ever?
No.
No.
I've seen like 7 episodes of Peaky Blinders. That's it.
I started watching that and restarted watching that because I had mob movie fever in like February. But all the mob movies I wanted to watch were in the bucket. So
we watched a really cool mob documentary too. That was interesting.
Yeah, same feel.
But I've never seen like The Godfather or anything. So
if we pull that, dude. Anyway, go on.
I don't know what I expected. I just expected that I would absolutely hate it because I know it's violent. When I was like, oh, this is violent and it's about drugs and I don't like violence or drugs, because those things are bad. So, but I was honestly kind of surprised and I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. It was interesting. And like y'all were saying, it's definitely more about like the character of Tony. Like he talks a lot about like the drug operation, but it's not a focus of like how they're moving the drugs or how they're doing it.
Don't see any of that.
Yeah, you don't see that. The focus is on the characters.
It's not a time travel movie, one could say.
Yeah.
Now you get it.
Oh boy. Yes, but also no.
This is just well done.
Yeah.
Let's talk about chainsaws.
That was terrible.
I want to talk about chainsaws.
It was not fun.
So I feel like every mob movie's got to have the over-the-top, ruthless,
gross
violence, right? So we get Tony. He's in a refugee camp early. Whatever. He gets on with his bud. Gets them like some. They were gonna do a small drug run, right? Like picking up some cocaine from some Colombians at the docks.
As you do.
And Tony was like, nah, that's not enough. Like for $500. And Tony's like, nah, that's small fries. Essentially, give me a bigger job, which is hilarious because he's totally unproven and he's literally a dishwasher at this point.
Well, he murdered somebody at that point.
But like the guy he's trying to negotiate with flashes a gun and he's just like, I'm gonna F you up. And I'm like, bold move, Cotton. Like you've got your 2 fists and an apron right now and you're talking shit on a guy with a gun. Wild. But they give him like, I guess just to either prove it or this guy will be dead and we won't have to worry about him anymore. Give him the $5,000 job of getting like securing drugs like from an actual like dealer guy, man, instead of just unloading him at a dock.
Colombians.
They meet the Colombians for real. Like instead of just unloading the boat, they're gonna go handle the handoff. So they give him the cash, and they go to a seedy hotel.
I think it was like they were gonna get marijuana from the boat too, and instead
marijuana instead of cocaine.
Cocaine.
Okay. Fuzzy details. We watched this movie a while ago.
Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday. Normally we watch them like right before the show. We got it.
I'm glad we watched this in the daytime.
Yeah,
so I had hours to forget the sadness.
We're definitely all of the mob
intensity.
movies. At least we're gonna want to do when it's daylight outside.
Watch some nice light television.
Especially
afterwards.
I ended this one at like 12:30.
Oof.
From what I remember from
wow.
Goodfellas, especially.
You have a nice good night's sleep after
Um,
watching this movie, I'm sure.
Anyway, they
You
go
dream
do,
about your boss running you over with a semi truck.
yeah.
Is what happens.
As you do.
They go do the deal and they have like the cliche, like, well, I'll give you the money once you give me the drugs. Well, I'll give you the drugs once you give me the money. And they're at a standstill. I know chainsaws produced for some reason. And like,
Because they were, I don't know.
the deal was going
deal was
sour.
They
going
got the drop
sour.
on them.
Someone made a move and then chick on the bed had like a gun and everybody had a gun.
Well, they
and
were
then-
just going to jump them for the money and
Yeah.
not give them the drugs.
And then a chainsaw happened, and there's a chainsaw. So Tony has like his friend or whatever, like one of his. There was 4 of them in the refugee camp. Tony George, was that his name?
Angel.
Manny.
Manny. Holy, where did George
Manny,
come from?
Manny was his best friend.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Manny and Tony were tight, but Manny was in the car talking to chicks in bikinis.
Hitting on a chick instead of
As
getting
he
up to
does.
where he needed to be.
Angel's the one that got chainsawed, right?
Yes.
So they
Think
the
so.
the
R.I.P.
drug dudes tie up Tony and
Angel
Angel,
hair.
and they tie Angel like this, like to the shower curtain rod, and just chainsaw his arm off, and then chainsaw his leg off, and then kill him.
Turns out drug lords aren't good people.
And it was like,
Who would have thought?
I was afraid that was gonna really set the tone for the movie,
Me too.
but it turned out it was like just early shock, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do it a lot more implied. Like they don't really show it happening. They don't really, show
They-
the arm hanging or anything like that.
No, they
Which, if
don't.
you were in that situation, I would just be like doing whatever I could just to get shot. It's like just get it over
Right.
with quick. I don't want to deal with my arms getting
Yeah,
chopped
just,
off.
like,
go
all right,
run
I'm just
at
gonna
the
make a
lady
move
on
and
the
hit me in
bed.
the head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm not gonna. Why? Like,
I'd just be like,
but-
okay, here's the money, and be like, they had a chainsaw, man.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'd be like, understandable.
I don't know what you want from me. They had a chainsaw. You can have all my dishes money for the next year. They had a
Take my
chainsaw.
apron, yeah.
So that was wild scene. But obviously they get out of it, and then it sets up the rest of the thing. But man, the chainsaw scene, I thought that was gonna be more of a like, man, this movie is gonna be way too much. But they
Yeah.
really kind of like, it's the first drop of the roller coaster. It's always the worst part, and that was the chainsaw. You know, they really get it out of the way.
That's
Anticipation
true.
of-
That's a good way to put it.
So past that point, like that kind of gets them in because Tony's ruthless. Like he lost a man, but he then killed everybody
He
else.
got the
and
money and the
they
drugs.
got the money and the drugs. So it was
Joke's on you.
a big win for their boss.
And he knows that he wants to
And
make
then-
that personal connection too. He wants to personally deliver it so the guy knows
Yeah.
what he did. Yeah.
What was that dude's name?
So
I
he's
don't
street
remember.
smart. He knows what he's doing.
Frank.
No, Frank was the big boss though,
Oh.
right? Not the other guy. The guy that ended up
Ooh.
swinging from
Oh,
a helicopter.
Sosa
Omar.
was the
Sosa.
No.
Yeah. Omar's the
Omar.
guy that
Omar.
Sosa was the Bolivian.
in the car that flashed the pistol.
That's right. So yeah, that dude ends up hanging by his neck from a chopper. There's so many details. If we talked through every plot point, we'd be here
Forever.
It's a lot.
which makes me want to bring up my notes really quick. So I brought up the chainsaws thing. This is not my notes. That's breweries I want to visit in Tampa. This is the second movie in a row.
Important topic.
This is the second movie in a row. I waited through 99% of the film to hear the quintessential line.
Oh.
Back to the Future. I thought that roads where we're going, we don't need roads, is going to be like earlier. I didn't realize that was the
That was
end.
literally the last
So
thing.
I'm waiting for the whole movie to hear roads where we're going, we don't need that. And it's the last thing said. And for this whole movie, I'm going, when's the say hello to my little friend
Say
scene?
hello to my little friend.
When's the say hello to my little friend scene? And it again is the last line in the movie, essentially. Wild. I was kind of upset. So I'm like, when is it gonna happen?
It's his moment. It's his last stand.
I also during the beginning of the
He's
movie,
gonna launch a grenade.
a couple of them. He's got
Yeah.
This man's got an M203 on his M16.
He's rich.
Find his build in the comments.
He got his loadout.
His loadout. I also during the like immigration scene in the beginning of the movie, I wrote down, if this dude doesn't have a scar on his face, I swear to God. And it like,
Dude,
it's
But they never call him
They
Scarface.
don't.
It's kind of insane that the movie's called Scarface, right?
yeah.
Is it just
And
They must
they
have.
don't even say, they say Scarface in Spanish or whatever. That's it.
Yeah,
Not
they
Yeah.
even
catch
catch
that. I feel like it's maybe used more in the original movie.
That's
like
what
the
I wanted
30s
to
one.
bring up.
So maybe
Oh,
that's
true.
I was
maybe that's
only
where it's
made
from.
aware that there was an original at the bar when you texted us that this
Yeah,
this
I was
evening.
like,
Yeah,
we
you
better be
freaked
on the
me
same
out.
movie. I was like, what if we were supposed to watch the original one? And I was like, I get to hear it. I'm like, man, the synthwave was great. And you guys are like, synthwave?
Yeah, you're like,
The synth wave was great.
Carl, what chainsaws? No. So
If
Is
that
this
ever
it?
happens, I hope we don't realize it until we're recording.
yeah. Also at
That
the
would be
beginning,
hilarious.
when they're going through like, it's 1980 and drugs are everywhere. Like the opening crawl was like the shittiest Star Wars like
Oh, yeah.
crawl like, ever. I don't know if that was like if every movie after
gotta
1970
do it.
whenever A New Hope came out was like
We need
crawls are in. Like we got to do them. It just and the music was
People love to read.
oh
The
boy.
music was appalling.
I liked it.
It was so just like,
it was like
I didn't
instant
pay much
dramatic.
attention.
Dun, dun, dun.
It was- but
like it was so obvious.
it was
like,
very like 1980s.
It's pretty heavy-handed, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's very
But-
like
but that's very
1980s
80s,
Casio,
right.
like
Right.
baby's first keyboard.
It was
like,
so
you know,
cringy. You know, Elvira comes
yeah, I
on
guess
screen
it was kind of hollow
and it like
or
is
flat.
a dramatic. You know, oh, his sister's here. do 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 do.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we get it.
It's museumy. like we it's a thing you understand.
Museumy.
Like you know, like when you go to Disney World, and it's you do the
do
carousel
that.
of progress.
There's a
It's like
great
that.
big
That's the music. You go and watch an old thing and you appreciate it because it's
shining
old, but
at the
also
end of every day.
at the same time it's like shitty because it's like
It
this
was-
didn't age
it
well
was
at
something-
all.
It was something.
Yeah, they tried to get the guy that did the...
genuinely-
Do what?
I was just gonna say I don't really remember the music at all.
Oh man,
didn't
it was.
stand out
It
to me.
reminded me of my note was this music reminds me of GoldenEye 64. Like
Golden Eye.
You know,
That's a
like-
good thing.
oh sure,
Like the James Bond game, right?
yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
Just making
not
sure.
not the other famous GoldenEye.
I don't know.
I was gonna say, I think on the 30th anniversary, they were gonna re-release it on like 4K Blu-ray, and then like re-dub it with whatever they call it with music, and do it with like rap music and modern music, and they wouldn't do it,
Oh,
which
dude.
I think would have not been good.
That would have been
No.
this year, right?
I don't think
This is
that
the
would've been
40th.
good.
40th.
No, it was like in the
This is
2000s.
Man, I would kind of be in. I want to
don't
hear
know.
like Snoop Dogg over this movie for sure.
Well, it's the problem. It's the same thing I had with like the Elvis movie where they had like modern music over it. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about like them
Wait,
mixing it. Like
They
I think
put
the
modern music in the Elvis movie? That's weird.
What?
yeah.
That's weird.
They had it's like it's not just they had like some like modern kind of stuff in there. There was another movie we watched that did that too, wasn't there? That had like
Django.
modern-
Django and Shane.
Yeah, where I was just like, it kind of takes me out of the moment. That's what I liked about this is like this felt so 80s. Everything was so
That's true. There's
Like,
something to
uh,
be said about how aggressively 1980s this movie was.
yeah. It just puts you in that cocaine nightclub neon vibes of like yuppie culture. I was like, this is perfect. It was like the same kind of music that we got in Rain Man, but that I felt was really weird because it didn't have any of that like
Right.
nightclub scene stuff. Whereas this, I felt like it really settled well.
Speaking of like weirdness, the club scene early on when Tony's dancing with Frank's girl,
Oh, that was their
the dancing was
horrifying.
so bad.
Literally like hopping up and down. It's like you're
Yeah.
on pogo sticks.
And it was like it reminded me of like what if the Pulp Fiction Uma Thurman John Travolta dance scene didn't land? Like that's
Yeah.
what, but that landed though. That landed well and was
Yeah.
done really well. But this was
Yeah.
just
That
tragic.
was pretty bad.
It was so bad. But I wrote it's awesome.
Speaking of John Travolta, he was going to play Manny, or he was in the list of like
no,
names.
you can't have John Travolta be a Cuban
right?
guy.
That would have been so weird.
I mean, even Al Pacino being a
I
Cuban
mean-
guy kind of is a little cringe in retrospect. But dude,
The so
they had
Tony's
chainsaws,
best
Tony.
friend,
yeah.
Tony's best friend Manny is the only Cuban, like actual Cuban, in this movie.
What is with? I mean, no crime can be worse than what's the
West Side
West
Story.
Side
Best
Story?
story.
That was pretty
Ooh, at least they didn't
It
paint
was a
Al
lot
Pacino
of
brown.
The
Italian.
guy who played
it was a lot
Manny
of
didn't even have
Italian
to
American.
audition either. I don't think he was just in the room and they saw him. They're like, "That's the guy."
That's
You are perfect.
profiling. Wait, this one's Cuban? Sign him up! Sign him up! Like, we
Gonna
got
save
him!
so much money on brown makeup. Get him in here.
Oh, Hollywood was the worst. It's still the worst, but it really was the worst.
It's worse now for sure.
Oh man, yeah. I said the soundtrack sucks, but in the '80s haven't aged well kind of way. So in that, like, it perfectly encapsulates the time period. But oh boy, it's like, dude. I wrote Frank too. So Frank's the boss, the first boss, I guess, before Tony becomes the boss. He had a Burt Reynolds-ness to him? Question mark.
Yeah.
Just kind of the gruff.
Maybe. I can see it.
At least I wrote that down early before the cracks started to kind of show behind, or at least like when Tony was casting doubt on Frank's methods. I was just talking like the club, and he's got the cigar and the drinks and the girl. I'm like, oh, he's kind of got that like hairy chested 80s alpha male, 70s like
Those like wide collar shirts.
yeah, made man kind of deal. So
Yeah.
that was cool. And then I don't have
while
really
we're
any notes
talking-
until the end of the movie. So
While we're talking cast, one of the first choices for Tony was Robert De Niro.
which
could have landed.
of course.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
If they were going to do that, it was going to be Scorsese directing too,
No
which would be a
kidding.
whole different movie.
Well,
Yeah.
and that would be aren't they all in The Irishman? Scorsese directed The
Well, I
Irishman.
think that's a pretty tight knit crew.
yeah, Pacino and De Niro and all them. Like, it's kind of like The Irishman to me seemed like the high school reunion of we were in mob movies in the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was originally supposed to be De Niro. He turned it down. And Al Pacino actually was only going to be a producer in the beginning. But then once De Niro was out, he stepped up.
Can you picture De Niro going as crazy as Pacino in the movie? Like,
Maybe?
he's just so
Not really.
measured to me.
He kind of. I mean, I'm assuming you haven't seen Taxi Driver.
No.
I'm basing this. He's kind
off
of measured in that too, to some degree, though. He's not like as impulsive. He's a lot more. I don't want to give away too much if you're gonna watch it, but
I would, yeah.
that's a really good movie. Yeah, because I heard it was Al Pacino who was watching the original one and was like, "This needs to be remade."
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
if,
he was like, I was just walking down Sunset Boulevard and they were playing it in the theater, so I went in and then
It's crazy.
they made a
how,
movie.
Like, the influence it takes to even do that, you know?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Which he had done Godfather before this, I'm assuming.
Pacino?
Or yeah.
Yes, to the point
Okay.
where I actually
That
showed.
was before.
Yeah. So I showed Danielle Godfather's 70s, I think. I showed Danielle two pictures of, because I was like, having only seen Pacino in The Godfather, it's the only previous exposure to Al Pacino that I have, other than knowing Old Man Pacino now. And Old Man Pacino looks like an older version of Pacino and Scarface. Like, they look the same. I showed her the picture of Michael Corleone and was like, tell me that's the same guy.
It was crazy.
Because he looks so different. And his character in The Godfather is warm. It's measured, calculated, a quiet rage, Godfather 2 aside. And in this movie, he's a coke-fueled maniac. And it was just very interesting to see.
Yeah, he really unravels throughout the movie.
He didn't follow the rules.
So I would just
I know.
You gotta follow the rules,
Two
man.
rules. He would have never made it in Zombieland.
That
There was
was
way
it.
too many rules.
I forgot to double tap, and he's just dead immediately. That's the only rule I remember from Zombieland.
Cardio. Yeah, well, that's we'll have to watch that.
Burt Reynolds is in
another
that.
great movie.
Is that the one with Woody?
No, he's not.
Woody,
It's
Bill
Woody
Murray.
Harrelson?
Bill Murray.
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, Woody
Okay.
Harrelson's in it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Emma, what's her face?
Stone.
Stone.
Yeah. I'm not watching it because there's zombies in it. I'm not watching zombies.
It's
It's not really a zombie movie.
Understand.
You know what?
I've
it-
seen
it's-
the scene of them changing into zombies.
that movie's
I
kind of
didn't-
strange because it's not a
I don't like
zombie movie and it's not a comedy. But
I don't
it's
like
both.
them.
I love it. Yeah,
It's a good movie. I
It's
watched
a good
it.
movie.
Probably.
Like, it's not a time travel
Yeah,
movie.
I think I watched it.
It's not actually a zombie movie. Just half
What's
the
up with all these
population
movies not committing? Come
turns
on.
into zombies.
Yeah, it's 12 or 13 years since I've seen Zombieland. So here's something about this movie though that was interesting to me is it seemed like Tony wasn't on top for very long. Like,
I think we just got a montage.
Well, they did that. Yeah, the 80s montage.
yeah, but it's like, like, here's a shitty metaphor. It's like if a slide was really long, but the ladder up to it was short. Like if it was on a hill, like the climb up was really short, and then the slide down was really long.
The descent was.
And I
fast
get it
and-
because the descent is the story, but at the same time, it sure was like, man, he sure did do a good job twice. And then he was
They
on
also
top
do
of the
flash
world.
forward. They're like 1 month later, 3 months later, so they
Yeah.
do cut a lot of that. Because
But,
I
like-
mean, once you see a
Yeah,
few of
I'm
those
not
things,
really-
you get the idea. You don't need to see
The
every
cuts
single
are
thing
to
you did
like
to get
he's
there.
got Montana Bank, bro. Like they just went really
Yeah.
forward.
He should have
That's not
stuck there. He had like 5 legitimate
Right?
businesses.
Yeah.
He
Like,
could
what
have
are
been
you doing?
like a productive member of society,
got his
but he needed
sister a hair
that thrill.
salon.
Yeah.
So, and then
Which do we want to talk about the weird dynamic with his sister?
yeah.
Was it? It was
I
a little
couldn't
bit
figure-
incesty.
I couldn't figure it. Yeah, was it incestuous or was it
I-
just like fatherly protecting?
I don't
'Cause
think it
it's a
was
weird-
meant to be.
I read fatherly
incesty.
protecting.
It
But
just.
then there's that scene where
Same.
she's trying on that silky dress and he's just sitting there like, yeah,
But
wear
that's
that dress.
Isn't that mob
But-
movie-ish though? You
Maybe
kind of get
so.
that because the family's thing is so.
It could definitely be argued or construed to that kind of incestuous.
Like even when he kills
vibe.
Manny at the end of the
But-
movie, it's like, oh, he defied the rule of the dawn. Is kind of what that. Like he said, stay
Yeah.
away from my sister, and he broke the rule, so you don't
Yeah.
get second chances. And that just kind of all that stuff, harsh, heavy-handed, maybe even a little.
but it was your best friend.
Yeah,
Corrective.
but it fits the mob movie in the mob life.
And at
I
that
thought.
point, he was
Well,
so
that and-
paranoid and so coked out of his mind that he couldn't think straight. So he
Yeah.
was slipping
Yeah.
way. He was beyond the reconciliation at that point.
I definitely read it as a fatherly thing because like he knows he's bad. Like he knows he's a bad guy.
yeah.
He
She's
says it
like the only.
a lot.
She's the only thing though that's like good and pure still in his life. Like he wants to protect that at all costs. So I think that's more of where
Yeah.
they're coming
No,
from
I
there.
definitely don't think it was meant to be a little sexual tensiony, but I just.
You know,
I think the actors
Well, the scene-
maybe.
you know,
a
it was
little-
worse.
And the scene at the end.
That's how it ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't help it at all.
They really hit the gas on.
Yeah.
She like ugh.
It all happens a little fast at the end. Like
Exactly.
to where
I
it's
forgot
like they
about
kind of.
I loved the ending though. Like from the time they get her back to his house till the end.
Yeah, when they
Yeah,
kill,
so
they
good.
kill, they
It
kill
really
Manny
falls
off
apart for
and,
him.
You know, all that jazz. But
That one hurt a little bit.
Yeah,
Manny
I
was-
agree.
coming though.
Manny might have been my favorite,
Yeah.
I
I
like
mean,
other
he's-
than Tony, I guess.
he's the voice
He's kind
of
of
reason.
the only decent guy other than Gina
But
or
to,
his mom.
to
Yeah.
Tony's point though, it's like it is his fault. Like Manny got him into it in the first place.
Yeah.
Which he says at one point. But yeah.
I do wonder, like, if he told him they did get married, would he have still felt the same way, or would he have been like, "You still shouldn't have done that," kind of thing? He probably
don't
wouldn't have
know,
shot
man.
him, but he probably wouldn't have loved it.
I think
I don't know.
I think Tony was just chalked at that point. Like he was too far out. You know what I mean? Because even like the dudes with him were like, Tony, we gotta go. Like Gina, we gotta go. Like we can't be here.
Yeah.
They were like the voice of reason, and Tony was just like coked out,
was
power
crazy.
trip, like overtly paranoid as everyone
Oh,
in a position of power that's illicit is like that's the trope. So security cameras
money,
everywhere.
more
I want to
problems.
be in that tub.
Yeah, that was a
That
cool little
pretty
tub.
lit.
Dude, he
Like
was
your
just
TVs
chilling
in
with his
front?
boy.
Just chilling.
Chilling with his best
Hey, man,
friend.
Your boys,
Come
would
hang
you-
out with me while I take a bath.
I'm trying to chill with my boys in my 1,000 square foot baño with my TV that's on the floor with a liquor cabinet built in. Like that was awesome.
It's pretty lit.
He's just yelling
He,
at everybody.
he did a few things right. Yeah.
I kept, what made me anxious though is he's in the tub with the bubbles, but he's got the remote in his hand and he kept like dipping it
I
really
thought he
close
was
to
gonna
the
run
water.
really close
I was
to
like,
it. Yeah.
don't dip that in the water. The batteries will corrode. Like it was stressing me out.
No, not corroded batteries.
stressing me
How
out.
could anything else go
know how
wrong
to
more
get more
than
Duracells.
corroded
I
batteries?
can't get a break.
Duracell, trust it
He's
everywhere.
not gonna get shot by a bunch of rival gangs or anything. It's the batteries that are gonna be
It's
the
also
end.
Batteries.
like, all of a sudden we've just got gang people clambering over the fence. And
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah, I
them.
don't.
It took them forever. Like I feel like they were swarming, and then there was like I feel like they should have been at the house quicker.
But that was that
He's
was
got a really big estate.
that was helicopter guys, dudes, right?
Yeah.
Because he screwed over. So there's a
Sousa.
whole Sousa. That was
Sosa?
Sousa.
Sosa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sosa.
Shout out to
Alejandro Sosa.
Same. Yeah. Shout out to Steven Sousa Jr., former right fielder for the Tampa Bay Rays. So No, yeah, he's got that's the dude that kills what's his face in the helicopter because he smelled a rat or something.
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
And
We
He's like
also-
an
don't know.
informant or something. Allegedly, yeah.
Well, he was he was like like something communist something. I don't know. It's really weirdly.
I thought he was like an informant to the police or something like that.
That was it. The communist
Yeah.
was the dude they stabbed in the refugee camp. Was a Rabanga.
Which
He was a
Tony's
communist
only
general.
acting on like half information or half truth. He
Yeah.
doesn't know for sure any of this stuff, but he's doing things that benefit him. He's like, okay, well, I don't know if you did this or not, but like this gets me to the next step, so I don't care.
Was that
Like he doesn't mind doing, like making those kind of sweeping decisions.
was the anti-commie stuff like really like hindsight really hilariously heavy-handed to y'all?
I didn't really
A little bit,
pay attention.
but-
I was just like, man, we were really working hard to demonize this stuff in the like Carter Reagan era. It's cracking me up. Like Castro in the Cuban Missile Crisis was fresh and stuff. I don't know. It was just making me chuckle. Whatever.
Another scenario where I didn't know enough history there to
I gotcha.
have an opinion.
Well, communism bad, Nick.
I did hear that they
Well,
didn't
yes.
film as much in Florida because they
Yeah.
tourism place wanted them like it put a bad light on it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I don't
all
know.
of this movie was filmed in LA.
Was even the chainsaw
Which is-
scenes? Because that looked like Miami Beach. I
Yeah,
was just there.
no, they
they got
wouldn't
to do
film it here.
some.
They
'cause
couldn't film it here?
The Cuban immigrants and like tourism were like gonna not riot, but like strike. That's
Protest.
the word,
Yeah.
protest.
Yeah.
Against it because it was such a negative light for.
That's fair.
I think the beach scenes were Miami though. I think they got to do some, and then they had to like hightail it
so
out of there.
I was there a couple months ago, and it just looks like the South Beach,
Mhm.
like those buildings and stuff, like that road. I was like, if that's not South Beach, like,
Yeah.
this is.
Oh, that was.
Yeah.
I did really like how they shot that scene there at the beginning,
Yeah,
where it like pans from the car up the steps into the room and then back to the car and then back up. It was really
yeah.
cool.
it
There's
stressed
some really
me
good
out
panning
too, though.
shots.
It added a lot of tension, which was cool.
Yeah.
And like when we peeking out of the apartment back to the car and then back into the apartment,
And then you see the blood on the window.
yeah, like and then the blood on the window from the chainsaw scene. All that, all those shots are pretty cool. We were a little confused, and it was clear afterwards the nightclub shootout scene where Tony has just had to meet with the corrupt cop that's on like Frank's side or whatever, and he's chilling in his booth all coked out, and there's the dude doing shitty comedy on the stage, and there's the two dudes
was
in the
so
front of the
bad.
stage with like Uzis under their towels, which they have towels, I guess napkins, like cloth napkins or whatever.
Linen, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
And they're like, I thought they were gonna shoot the comedian. I'm like,
I thought so too, because it seemed like they didn't like the jokes that he was making or whatever, and I was like, oh, they're gonna silence this guy, but then they
Enough.
like, yeah,
yeah, and
It's
even
not funny.
once,
Yeah.
even once they started shooting, we were still
It
like,
was still hard
"What's
to
happening?"
tell. Like, are you shooting at
Yeah.
Tony or are you shooting at this guy in a weird mask?
And then he kills. And then he
was the
kills-
guy in the
I
mask
mean,
supposed to
where
be
did-
somebody?
I don't know.
Was that a caricature?
I think.
Okay, I couldn't figure out what it was supposed to be.
Me
Yeah.
either.
I didn't really follow who those two dudes were either.
So they were Frank's men because Tony had gone behind.
Or I think they were I think Frank hired the Colombians.
yeah.
to-
It was Frank
'cause he
trying
had-
to knock off Tony
Oh.
because
Tony had pissed everybody off
he
at
had
that point.
overstepped and tried to get like
Yeah.
increase the shipments of cocaine to
Yeah.
the states and grow the empire, and he stepped over Frank, and they had that whole tense meeting in Frank's office, and Tony told him to, or Frank told Tony to take a break for a while or whatever, and that's when that all happened. So it was an assassination attempt, and that's why Tony
Yeah, that
went
was a
straight
rough night
to-
for Tony.
went straight
He
to
got
Frank's
set up
house.
with the cop guy. He gets assassination attempt. He sees Gina dancing with some dude and slaps her. He was not strike
Yeah.
three.
He was not.
Well,
Oh,
he really
yeah.
got to
Rough night.
unwind though by shooting Frank and a cop in the chest. So
That was
Yeah.
crazy.
I was like, "You can't kill a cop," and he's like, "I just shot you in the stomach. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, you don't live through that.
And then there,
Man,
and
he
there was
did.
the last guy.
He
There
just
was
went in
three
and out.
people in the room.
Do what, Nick?
There was the three people in the room. It was Frank, the cop, and then like the other guy.
Yeah,
And they're like, "What are we
I think
going to
his name
do
was
with the other guy?" He's
Ernie.
like, "You want a job, Ernie?
that was awesome.
I'll call you tomorrow."
I love
Sure,
the
Tony.
you want a
There-
job scene.
Yeah.
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 That was
There's
amazing.
a couple really funny moments like that.
I mean, the whole scene
also
where they were.
when he put on the hat.
yeah.
That
He
was
put on the hat in
that
the
was
car
not
with
in
her.
the script. Do you know that?
Really?
Really?
Yeah, that's a
That's
fun
good.
fact. I've got a fact.
Nice.
I got a fact. No, so Al Pacino, that was take $1 million billion, and Al Pacino just put the hat on, and you saw her break in the car, like she laughs, and it's sort of out of character, but she did her best to stay in character and like half smirk while still being like, "You're annoying," and that's what made the movie.
Yeah. That's like one of two
That's all
times that
script.
she actually smiles. The only other time is like at their wedding day.
She's kind of the worst.
You don't ever
She's
see.
vapid. She's just, yeah, she doesn't have any real
does she
personality. She's
want?
boring.
Like she's bored
just-
with Frank, but then goes with Tony, and it's like the writing on the wall kind of seemed there that like he's gonna be Frank.
Well,
next.
she's just been dragged around by men in power. Like, do you think either of them would have let her just,
Right, she's
Not-
kind of helpless.
she kind of doesn't have a choice.
Well, she's also kind of a gold digger.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, she's also,
that's what I was
an
thinking.
addict.
Nobody's blameless in this movie. Like,
But like, for as much as Tony was supposedly into her, you never see them kiss. You never see them
Yeah.
anything. Like,
yeah, he
she's
never
just-
says "I love you." He tells like when
there.
she kind of leaves, he's like, "Tell her I said I love you," but it's kind of this
Right.
half-hearted attempt to get her back, and he doesn't. Yeah, he just wants to own her, so he's just objectifying her. He just want, yeah,
Yeah, I don't like that
So-
when he after he killed Frank, he was like, "You're mine now."
Yeah,
I was
like
like, you could
goes to
phrase
her
that.
bedroom
I mean,
and-
I know
Yeah.
that was the point, but I was like, ugh.
Well,
say
and
it
not only that,
different.
it's like, how big is this house? She's sleeping through gunshots. This is hilarious.
Oh, I assumed that wasn't at the house. That was
I
at
thought
like
it was
his
It's
office
Frank's
or something.
house. I thought it was. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe
Yeah, I
it was.
assumed
don't
it
know.
was an
I assumed
office.
it. I assumed the house for whatever reason. She does a lot of
home office probably.
to put it in the in the Pulp Fiction phrase. She powders her nose quite often.
Yeah,
A lot of-
that'll.
not as
Don't
much
you just love that thing where you wake up and your husband's killed?
yeah, it's my favorite.
Just
really,
no feelings. Just like, okay,
nothing. A little
Yeah.
nose
just
candy
do a
can't
little
fix.
another sniff.
Oh, yeah.
Another hit.
Another Quaalude and she'll be in love with me again.
That's hilarious. Nobody does more coke than Tony at the end of the movie, though.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
that
he's
was
bulletproof.
painful. That was pain. I was like, stop snorting. I don't want to watch it anymore.
That dude just like face in, like.
Ugh. It's like
into
you're
the
so
coke
high,
table.
you're gonna
Yeah.
die either way because you've just sniffed.
Imagine
so many
having
drugs.
a-
I couldn't
Explode, yeah.
find
Ugh.
I couldn't find any like solid confirmation here, but rumor has it, and like they didn't deny it, was the thing that some of the scenes he was actually snorting cocaine.
I wouldn't doubt it. It was the
It was
80s.
the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To quote Shirley Bennett, everyone that made this was on cocaine.
Yeah. It's just like, can you imagine? You know how like we've got desks for computers? Like, imagine having a desk just for coke, which is essentially what he had. It's like, that's insane.
Yeah, that little like
I gotta sit down and, like-
wishbone tool that just
Yeah.
both nostrils. I was like, man, he's all in.
Uh,
Well, at the end, he's just
I
got
don't
like a
wanna think about
mountain
it.
of cocaine, and he's just
Yeah.
face down in it, like just doing all the huff. And what was interesting to me was the snort, and then the lick.
Yeah, get the gums.
The some
yeah.
on the gums and the tongue. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But I'm not a cocaine-ist.
Thank God for that.
I've never cocained. Can you imagine me with
This
my-
movie makes it look fun.
I know. Let's try
There's no
some cocaine.
repercussions.
Yeah, no consequences.
You get the coke. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
buy a chainsaw. No.
Yeah.
Imagine my
Start
heart.
an empire.
Imagine doing
Yeah.
cocaine with my heart. I'd be dead in 11
You'd be
minutes.
dead immediately.
I need the downers, not the
I
uppers,
miss
gentlemen.
you.
You wouldn't miss
That's
me
the
after
one
that
thing
life
Tony did
insurance
wrong.
payout.
He should have been doing.
Maybe you should
downers.
do some cocaine.
You get 400 big ones if I.
Yeah,
pass
now
away.
that you're insured. Like, I didn't know he had a drug problem.
This is what they'll use in court if I die in a car crash tomorrow. They'll check the computer and be like, "What?
What?
You're like, case closed, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
They lasted 20 episodes. 20 episodes?
This is 20.
This
yeah.
is 20.
21
Yeah.
I made it.
21. Ouch.
21.
with Roadhouse.
Yeah, but that was 0.
That don't count.
That doesn't count.
I mean, it's on the internet. It sort of counts.
Don't listen to that on the audio. It's terrible.
Phoebe.
We should run that through the like AI podcast. You know how they have that software that makes any microphone sound good? Yeah, we should do that. Anyway, how long have we been going? 45 minutes?
45 minutes.
So we should get to star ratings.
Yeah.
And then do whatever it is we do afterwards. So who wants to go first on this one? I feel like
I will, and I'll
Go ahead.
start with
Nick will.
one last
star?
fact.
Star?
One star. Nick
No. One last fact that
Ooh.
it just has to be in the episode.
Let's go.
One of the biggest fans of this movie was
Donald
Saddam
John
Hussein.
Trump.
Saddam Hussein?
Close.
Basically, the same guy.
Saddam Hussein. The trust fund that the former
Wow.
Iraqi dictator set up to launder money was called Montana Management.
Oh,
That's
wow.
real life.
You know, I don't know if that's a good. You know, if you're making a movie,
Life
that,
imitating art.
Yeah,
That's
I don't.
Saddam Hussein.
Jesus.
He was a person too.
I mean, that's a
Yep.
stance on Saddam Hussein. He had feelings. He's a big fan of. He had the Scarface was right
Al
next.
Pacino fan.
Yeah, Scarface was on his table right next to the pornography hard drive.
Yeah.
In his Sims world, which by the way, the CIA has his Sims saves.
Wait, I'm
Release
sorry.
Oh,
Wait,
no
wait,
The
wait.
Sims
way.
saves.
He played Sims.
Release the Sim saves.
Hilarious.
He played
Release them. I want to see Saddam Hussein's Sims house.
Sims.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Or was that?
He was living out
or
the
what-
American dream.
Or was that Bin Laden? Might have been
Either
Bin
way.
Laden.
Either way.
Either way.
Either
Either
way.
way, one of them 9/11 boys has a Sims. Oh, now watch this drive. Anyway, Nick, what's your
Review.
Now that
What's
you've
your star
derailed
rating?
us.
I really liked it, man. This was my first mob movie, so I didn't really have any expectations going in.
It won't be your favorite.
Oh,
I'll
You don't know.
guarantee it.
see,
You don't know.
I'll
you got to know me
guarantee
better
it.
than that now. You got to know me better. Now it's going to be my favorite.
No, don't be spiteful. The Godfather's better. Go ahead. Godfather's a masterpiece, maybe the best movie ever, other than Phantom Menace. Go ahead.
God.
Jeez, every freaking episode.
Yeah.
No, I enjoyed it. I really. You mentioned earlier that you thought that some of the movie could have been cut, that it was too long. I disagree. I think every scene had a purpose, and every scene built on itself. You start with young little Tony.
Young
or
little-
not young. I keep calling him out. He's young to me for some reason.
Little Antonio.
But you got inexperienced Tony, and then you get all the way up to the mob boss or the drug kingpin, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed character development, story, everything about it was awesome. And the last 20 minutes of the movie were insane. I'm gonna give this, and I'm literally haven't thought about it till just this second. I think a 4.
4 seems good.
A 4.
I'm between 3.5 and a 4.
I like it. No, that's what I would call an adequate rating. Even an
Well done, sir.
That's an appropriate one. I feel like that's
Nailed
probably
it.
the sweet
You're an
spot.
appropriate
Why don't
rating.
you go next?
Me go next?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna immediately disagree with Nick.
Oh,
I think it was just.
we're supposed to be. We're always
I
on the
know,
same
I know,
page,
I know, I know.
Danielle.
Well, we're mostly on the same page. I just feel
Not
like
today.
it was like 2 hours and 50 minutes, right? So about 2
Yeah.
hours in, I was like, I still have another hour of this. And I kind of stopped caring. I was like, I'm ready. Like,
It's like The
It's a
Rise
lot.
was really cool to watch.
yeah. And then I feel like all the sequences were good, but I feel like some of them could have been shortened a little bit just to get us out before like almost 3
Did
hours.
we need to see them bringing 2 sets of large money bags into the bank for the
No.
teller to go, what?
Nah. Nah. You
You're
know.
gonna save 120 seconds.
So, but stuff like that. So,
Eh,
I just thought it got a little
I
bit
think we needed it.
a little bit long. This movie definitely, it gave me the same feeling that Pulp Fiction did, where as I was watching it, like I understand why it's such a pop culture thing. Like it just felt, I don't even know how to describe what kind of feeling it is. It's just a feeling you get when you know you're watching like a great movie. So I feel like it definitely had that, and I'm glad I watched Pulp Fiction first before this for some reason. I don't know, because now I just kind of know like what that little flavor is. Let me think. I don't think there was anything else.
Rating. Oh.
Well, okay. I think I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Oh, that's good.
But
Above
I wanted
average?
to shoehorn Star Wars in one more time.
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher auditioned for Michelle Pfeiffer's role.
No.
Different movie.
Imagine.
Carrie
tack
Fisher.
onto that.
Carrie Fisher
We're
read
gonna add Glenn
13
Close.
words into the script, saw cocaine, and said, "I'm in." R.I.P. Carrie
They didn't
Fisher.
give her the job. She's like, how about real life?
But what
I'll
about
just do this.
I've got the coke nail and everything. I'm ready.
Come on.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
She a real one.
R.I.P. to Carrie Fisher, the queen. I just, I would be remiss if I didn't bring that up. So, but yeah, I'm at 3.5. I don't need to. I'm glad I watched it, but I also don't need to watch it again because
That's kind of.
it was a lot.
Mob movies are heavy though.
It was heavy.
I'm gonna give it a 4.
Ooh.
Aligned with Nick. I loved it. Thought it was great. Good mob movie. I loved. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I almost expected not to like it as much because of the setting. Like I do like the post-war, like older guns, older cars, Italian, Sicilian, like that whole deal. I still feel is a more impactful era. But I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was fun. Tony was a hilarious character. Al Pacino is a legend. Like just the difference between Michael Corleone and Tony Montana. Like that dude's an insane actor. He's got range. Tony's KD was super high. that dude killed so many people.
I think he killed 16 people or 26 people or something like that.
And then
throughout it.
just to die to
26%,
like
yeah.
the cocaine Terminator at the end. Who was that guy?
Yeah.
Dude.
They ripped off Terminator. This movie preceded Terminator by a year.
Yeah, but
So
that
they
guy
copied that.
Did that guy not remind you of the T-1000? Like
Yeah, for
sure. I've
shotgun,
never
just
seen
stoic,
Terminator.
sunglasses.
He had
What?
Dead Silent on. He didn't go.
Dude.
Pick up on him.
You have not seen the Terminator? Oh my God!
I
Throw the bucket
love
away.
that you guys. I love that you guys react like that.
Every time.
Still.
Every
Throw
time.
the bucket
Every
away.
time.
We gotta watch T1 and
We should
T2.
not be shocked by now.
Oh, I don't know.
We
No.
gotta watch T1 and T2. They're so
That's what the
good.
We're doing a
Are
podcast because
they?
we don't watch movies, and you're still that shocked.
We're doing a podcast because I don't watch movies, but
Lean into the
it's
bit,
still-
Nick.
Terminator's like, I guess Steven all but Clockwork Oranged me into watching Terminator because I just
that
hadn't
mean
seen
raped?
it, and he was well,
That's a brutal scene.
yeah, the eyeball scene.
Are you talking about Clockwork
Oh, I was
Orange?
talking about the rape scene.
Oh, I've not
in
seen
Clockwork
it.
Orange.
I've not
well.
seen it.
Well, I'm not
and
watching
I'm
Spoilers.
it.
gonna. So
I had to look up to
Spoiler.
make sure there was no like
Sexual
assault in
assault
this
and,
movie. Every movie that I know is gonna be rough. I'm like, is there sexual
You're like those,
assault?
like-
No, great.
what's that
okay.
parent website where you're like, does it
Focus
have?
on the family.
Yeah. You're like, focus
It's
on
me.
the family.
I just anytime there's like any kind of like tension with like a man and a woman, I'm like, is she gonna get assaulted?
Oh,
And I
there's-
can't handle it, so
Hey,
I gotta
you know.
check.
Sometimes you gotta have tension between a man and a woman. Carl, what'd you think of this movie?
As long as there's no assault.
I loved it.
Salt?
I'm gonna wait. What?
As
Nothing.
long as there's no salt.
As long
Assault.
as there's
Oh,
no
go ahead.
salt. Yeah, watch your sodium there. Yeah, I think it was great. I think it being kind of this slow burn character study is really cool. Tony's this guy that's been subject to oppression and kind of this expected conformity through the communism, and then he through his actions puts that kind of same expectation and oppression on the people around him as he grows into power. It's kind of cool to see how power and greed can kind of corrupt you. There's also a lot of like bitter irony in this movie. Frank
for
tells
sure.
Tony not to underestimate the other guy's greed, and he underestimates Tony's greed, which gets him killed. He tells Tony not to get high on his own supply, which Tony then does. Let me see. There's also like kind of at the beach scene, like when we get that really great pickup move from Manny. Tony tells him, he's like, in this country you have to get the money and then the power and then you get the girl. But there's tons of people that are hanging out with beautiful women and they can't all be millionaires.
Right.
So he's just got this kind of like something like this kind of
Idealized.
idealized. He just doesn't. He's got it all kind of mixed up, and maybe it's different for like immigrants. It's harder or something. But yeah, he's just got this kind of misconstrued American dream, and you kind of see that kind of dream get warped throughout the movie, which is really interesting. Let me see. I'm reading my notes. Oh, this was the other thing. So he's calling everybody a cockroach, but he's kind of that cockroach. He's kind of all the stuff that he's yelling at the people. He's kind of yelling at himself. He can't see his own flaws. He like forces them on the other people. But I don't know. I think it's just a really well done movie. I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Ooh.
You're the highest one.
He's back.
Yeah,
He's
I'm back.
So we're all within a point again. 3.5, 4, 4, 4.5. We're
Nice.
we're doing a good job. So let's do
We liked Scarface.
we like Scarface. Good job, Al Pacino, and
Good
whoever
job.
directed this movie.
Someone. Good
Someone.
job, man. You know who you are.
Michael.
I'm sure he's
Probably
listening.
Michael Caine. Probably Michael
Probably.
Caine. Good job.
Michael Kai.
Michael
Michael Caine.
Yeah, Michael Caine.
Oh.
Ah. All right, Carl. What's your favorite
Yes.
non-Scarface thing you watched this week?
Oh man. Let's see. I did watch a few nature documentaries that were
Ooh.
really well done. I think it was the national parks one that Obama.
I've always wanted
narrates.
to watch that. The
It's
Nat
really
Geo
like
one.
I think it may just be watching movies for this podcast. I'm starting to look at like everything as like, okay, how, like, look at these shots. Wow, the cinematography. Like they had, and maybe it's just like a trend with like nature documentaries in general. But some of the shots, I'm like, how did they get
Nature
these?
docs
Like they
are
had
built
one
different.
underneath. Yeah, it's insane. They had this shot underneath with this mother otter and her like pup. And like it was under this dock, and I'm like, how did they get these shots? It was like right up with the animal. And I'm like, the patience these guys must have is bananas. So if you want a nature doc, I don't know what the name. I think it's just called National Parks. That's an amazing
our
one.
national parks, I think.
Something like that. Another random thing I watched. It was like early YouTube or maybe early Vine, but it's these two nerdy kids. I just rewatched it because I was like, I remembered it. I was like, I got to see this again. But it's the two kids playing Star Wars, and the kid's like, all women are queens. And it goes to the other kid, and he's like, if she breathes, she's a thought.
What?
And it's you
I
gotta
don't
look.
know this one.
No idea
The
what this
best
is.
video. It's so funny. It's just like this home footage. It's like these kids playing Star Wars with the like plastic lightsabers, but it's just I'm like, who hurt this kid? Like it's so perfect.
You got to
It's
put
so
that in
good.
the chat later.
It's amazing. Yeah, I'll have to link you guys.
God.
It's amazing.
Nick, what about you?
Ugh.
Do you watch more Breaking Bad or whatever?
I mean, I did. That's probably my answer. I don't really have anything this week.
Well, we'll come back to you
I,
for the Beatles too in a minute.
Okay. I do have that. What? You know what? I'll say this. You can make
Ooh.
fun of me.
I will.
I own it at this point.
You should own
The
it.
American Idol finale.
oh my
My
god.
boy Ian Tommy won. He's the best. Go Ian.
I hope Ian achieves his dreams.
Oh boy. He will have exactly one album in a target near you.
I mean, Carrie Underwood.
Yeah, lightning struck exactly twice.
Yeah, whatever the
Never
Kelly
the
Clarkson.
DVD is for
and
albums.
There's a few.
Yeah, they all suck. Kelly Clarkson though, she's 10 out of 10. What did you watch
Kelly's
this week?
hot.
What I watched this week. I also haven't watched a lot this week.
Oh Jesus, people.
I know. Well, we're so dang busy. I ain't got time to watch all this
Time.
television. But I watched I don't mean to keep bringing up musicals. I've just been on a kick lately. That's what I've been in the mood
Well,
for.
you're trying to heal your West Side Story trauma. That movie was
That's
ass.
what I'm striving for, is to heal the holes in my heart left by West Side
That movie
Story.
sucked so much.
But I watched. It's called The Last 5 Years, and it's probably better as a stage play than a movie. I didn't love the movie, but I love the soundtrack, and I have been listening to it basically
I've never even heard
on
of that
repeat
Mm-mm.
for the last few days.
for the last 5
Is it like a
years.
period piece or
What is it? When did it come
It's a
out?
Yeah,
story.
what
so
year
it's
span?
it came out in like 2015, 2014.
Okay.
It's a story of a married couple, and the girl, her storyline is told from the end to the beginning, and then the guy's story is told from the beginning to the end. So it's like each song bounces back and forth in the timeline,
Okay.
and then they meet in the middle, like where he proposes to her. And, it's their relationship falling apart. They're struggling artists. He's an author and
They
gets
m-
successful.
They meet when he proposes.
The
timelines
timelines
intersect.
meet when he proposes, and then it's told in like reverse order from each perspective. And Jeremy Jordan's in it, which is honestly why I
Oh
watched.
boy.
Oh, I'm in.
Because he
Oh,
sings so
boy.
pretty.
All right.
So, anyways,
Pretty.
movie's fine, soundtrack's great.
I have two answers for me, and one's a shoehorn. I'll start with my...
Wars.
No, I did not watch Star Wars. I have not yet watched.
Are you gonna watch Revenge
Did I
of the
watch?
Sith?
Did I watch Attack of the Clones?
You
since
did
we
watch
last-
Attack of the
I did watch
Clones.
Attack of the Clones. It's not aging well, boys. That movie is started. There's
2
definitely
is my
some
least favorite of the prequels.
It's the worst of the original 6 movies. The only 6 movies. There's definitely some parts where you're like, that clone doesn't look like he's walking on the ground. This background looks like ass. Like the CG didn't age well. And it's funny how it looks better in Phantom Menace than it does in Attack of the Clones, and then they really hit the gas in 2005 with Revenge of the
I
Sith.
wonder if it's because it's like mostly Gungans and droids that are computer generated, and those don't have to look like people. There's less uncanny valley there.
Some of the droids were practical too. Like at least the models
yeah.
were. Like how they animated them is a different story, but I don't know. There's some funny business going on.
Yeah.
I also have watched just because sometimes you gotta. I watched a couple episodes of Dragon Ball Super because I love Vegeta and I like watching him be mad, and it's therapeutic. I also watched some ceiling tiles while getting my first tattoo, which was fun.
Ooh, right.
It's not my favorite thing I watched. I have a triangle on my arm. It's for my favorite band,
There it
Never Wears
is.
Prada.
Show the people.
And it's really flaky and disgusting right
Yep.
now. It itched all day yesterday, and I wanted to kill myself.
That's cute.
So it hurts. Tattoos hurt people. So yeah.
What did it feel like? Did it feel like what you were
So-
expecting the pricks to feel like?
It felt worse. So I've talked. I feel kind of bad. I've talked to Nick and Danielle ad nauseum about the experience, but not you, Carl. So I'll just talk directly to Carl.
tell me.
So I was
Because
told
I have no tattoos and I won't probably get any ever.
I was told it would feel like either like pinch your arm and pull down, or like a cat scratch, and both of those are lies. It feels like someone's dragging 7 needles through your arm. It hurts.
I don't think it. That's close enough.
No,
It's close enough.
it's deeper.
Well, yours are way different than his, though.
That's
It's
too.
true.
still a tattoo.
But it is.
I've been
yeah, but his
tattooed
is
for like
thick.
I've been tattooed for 3.5
It is.
hours.
It's
Thick.
so this.
I've got shading on my other pieces.
I'll concede that this is similar-ish, but it
Yeah.
is deeper, sharper, and more visceral than that.
But just you can't
Like
really
it doesn't
know.
feel like that. It feels like what if that was worse in all the ways it possibly could be. But it's not unbearable. I wasn't like jerking around, and like trying to pull my arm away. Yeah. He said I sat well, but it is like, it's annoying is how the pain was described to me. Like it's annoying. I'll say that it's annoying, but it's distractingly annoying. It's not, how some things are annoying, like back of your mind, like, oh, this headache sucks, but I'm still watching TV or working or whatever.
Yeah.
This is annoying it's the only thing I can focus on annoying.
And how
at
long
least for
was
me.
it?
It was an hour. It's 30 minutes for
Okay.
line work, about 30 minutes for shading, and 10
Gotcha.
to 15 minute break in between. I will say that because it was only that long, and it's large, but it's not. It's pretty small. There were no moments where really I had time to get used to the pain at all. Because I heard that it's like, and some of the longer pulls, so like the longer outside edges of the triangle, I had a little bit of time where like in the middle of that pull, which is probably 15 seconds, it just felt like a million years. I was like, all right, I'm getting used to it. But up here, like towards the joint, was awful. Shading sucked. The touch-ups after shading were the worst part. I want more.
It's funny, you said deeper, sharper, and more visceral. Those are all pretty good terms for this movie.
A deeper, sharper, more
There you
visceral.
go.
Scarface.
Yeah.
Beatles update.
You gotta shout out the artist.
Oh yeah,
Where'd you go?
Jake at Cobra Classic. He was great. Talked me through everything. Super chill guy. I'm gonna go to him for my arm. I want to get my arm done. So we've been yakking for like an hour. Let's do Beatles real quick, and then we'll get on with it.
Yeah,
And
I
wrap
can
up.
be quick with this one because I didn't like this album.
Which one?
I'm on number 3,
Oh,
A Hard Day's Night.
It's a hot
Day's
day's
night.
night.
It's fine. So first 3, I've liked them in the order that I've listened to them. So like the first one's still my favorite.
That's
this is my least favorite.
hilarious. If you are a boy band Beatles era fan, I'm gonna laugh for 100 years. And that's not a bad thing. It's just hilarious.
This is a lot. As a single guy, it's a lot of love songs, and that's a bummer.
That's the first 5 albums, though, right? Like, the
I mean,
first
yeah, but
album's
this
Which
one,
ones?
for
I
whatever
gotta look
Please
up.
reason,
Please Me. I Want to Hold Your Hand is on that album.
I Want to Hold Your Hand is so good.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It is all of them.
They're
For
all
whatever reason,
it's
it felt
all
really
of them.
heavy-handed.
Maybe it's just, you know what it could be? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but are you 4 albums in just tired of it? Like
Maybe.
It's finally like,
Maybe.
all right, I've heard 30 of these.
Yeah.
This was me last week with the Back to the Future franchise. I was like, enough already.
And I Love Her is
my
good.
f-
That's kind of a darker one.
That's my favorite one on the album.
It's the best one.
And I love her.
Which one is it?
And I Love Her.
Okay.
It's a good song. Can't
Just
Buy
like
Me
that.
Love is also pretty good.
Can't Buy Me Love.
So, And I Love Her.
So I've been tweeting favorite song and then best song to drive to, and it's those two. Favorite
Can't-
song
Can't
and
Buy
I Love
Me
Her.
Love and
Best
I
song
Love
to
Her.
drive to. Can't Buy Me Love.
Yeah.
Do those two ever overlap?
They're right after each other. in
Not
the-
yet.
I mean, like those. Okay.
Oh, I see.
Not yet.
Yeah, And I Love Her.
I don't know what my least favorite is.
This is very
the
much
rest of
like
them.
the heart of the McCartney-Lennon co-writing, which it gets more distant and strains and becomes non-existent the later you go. But And I Love Her is a primarily McCartney song. So you're getting it.
My first McCartney.
You're getting it. He's been a Lennon fan, but I will say in the post like Rubber Soul era, the weirder Lennon gets, the better Paul gets, I think. That's and that could be just the lens that I'm viewing the Beatles through. But yeah. Interesting. What's next? What's the next album?
That's a good question.
Judas River.
Let's see.
There's also a musical comedy film that goes with The Hard Day's Night, by the way.
Yeah, I watched a little 3-minute video about that. Next is Beatles for Sale.
All right.
And then after that, Help, which I'm excited for.
Help.
Yeah, so Hard Day's Night is the
Need
height
somebody.
of Beatlemania. Very tippy top of their One
What is?
Direction-ness.
Help is?
No,
Oh,
Hard Day's Night.
hard to say.
They did the movie. They did the U.S. tour at this time, I believe. I'm not a Beatles historian, you guys. I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments. Email us at nick at... I almost gave you a real email address.
How many albums are
Please
there?
don't.
12...
1, 2, 3.
I wanna hold your hand.
11, 12, 13.
Damn it. That's pretty close. For that being off the cuff, that's
We
not bad.
all live
right.
in a yellow
Submarine's lit. Do we want to pull a movie?
Yeah, pull a movie.
Sure.
Just kidding. We're not going to pull a movie this week. Oh,
What? Because we're ending the
Podcast
podcast.
is over.
It's over. We're quitting. No, we're not quitting.
done.
We're going to do our first of probably 2 movies we're doing it for this year.
Yeah.
So I want to do Dune as well.
Dude.
Actual movies that are in theaters and aren't old.
Yeah.
This one might be ass.
We'll find out.
Dune's
No.
probably going to be amazing. We're going to watch The Machine in theaters probably this weekend.
Yeah.
And then it'll get to you the week after the press dies out.
Right after it stops trending on Twitter, we're gonna release
Yeah.
an episode about it.
Maybe,
because that's what you do.
Next year it'll be a little easier to capitalize on the movie hype. But man, with the list, we had to cut a movie we really didn't want to watch, and we're not going to tell you which one. Will let it be a mystery forever.
You'll never
but
know.
no, we're going to watch The Machine and give our thoughts. Bert Kreischer's one of our collective favorites, except for Danielle, who thinks he's gross and fat.
What?
He's one of
I
those
just
things.
don't like looking at his naked tummy. It's
The
hairy.
best part.
Is the tummy
like
the
it.
part that you don't like to look at
He's
specifically?
just- yeah.
I saw an interview with
Okay.
him today.
It's the whole
Where
thing. He's shirtless and
he was talking
looks
about-
sticky.
How he would trim his chest hair to make it look like it had more definition, and
Yeah.
like would brushes his stomach before each show so that his hair isn't going
See,
50
that's
different directions.
That's it. I don't want to look.
Grooming. It's grooming.
He's just like I
Screaming.
don't want to look at it just sticky. Like he looks like if you touched him, it would be like clammy, and I don't like it.
You're right. I mean, you're right.
I want to let's make it a goal to find out. Let's touch Bart.
Yep.
Hashtag touch Bart.
Good old Brent Crystals.
Old Brent Chrysler. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna watch The Machine. Apologies in advance. maybe it's terrible.
That'd be
Maybe it'll
great.
be a 20-minute episode.
Mark Hamill's in it. It's got to be.
Mark
good.
Hamill. That's right. Luke Skywalker's his freaking dad. It can't be that bad.
Can't be that bad.
Or
Are we doing that episode topless?
yeah, all 4 of
Yes.
us.
All 4 of us.
Yeah.
Our views
Maybe
go
our
way up.
maybe our views will go up.
We're not gonna find.
You got to
out.
do it for the internet, man.
Yeah, that's right. All right, boys and girls.
Do it for the
Well,
vine.
we watched Scarface mob movie. We're gonna watch The Machine, and then in that we'll get back to the bucket. Maybe we'll pull Godfather, and I'll shoot through the ceiling with joy. Until then, go watch The Machine in theaters. It'll probably be in theaters still by the time you hear this. It's a limited release, but this will come out Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it will release the Thursday
Tuesday.
before. Right? Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Who cares?
We'll catch you on the
Good luck.
next one. We'll see ya.